Akron versus Kent State, the Wagon Wheel rivalry. When two schools sit just 10 miles apart, you don't need to add much spice to make it a rivalry. That's the story of Akron and Kent State, two neighbors in Northeast Ohio whose football feud has been running for more than a century. The first clash came in 1923 when Akron shut out Kent State 32-0. It wasn't yet an annual tradition back then. Scheduling breaks in the 1920s and 30s slowed things down, but once they got rolling, the fire never left. The rivalry took on an extra layer of personality in 1946 with the introduction of the Wagon Wheel Trophy. Legend says that in 1870, John R. Buchtel, who founded what later became the University of Akron, had his wagon stuck in the Kent mud. A wheel supposedly got left behind, buried and forgotten until decades later. True or not, the story was too good to ignore, so the wheel became the prize. Since Akron officially joined the MAC in 1992, the rivalry has been locked into the calendar every single year. That's when things really intensified, as the two programs now battled not just for pride but also for divisional position. On the scoreboard, the series has tilted back and forth. Akron has a historical edge overall, but when you zoom in on the Wagon Wheel era, Kent State has quietly grabbed more wins, and that's where the rivalry shines. Games are often close, margins small, and the bragging rights priceless. For outsiders, it might seem like just another small conference matchup, but to locals, this is Ohio's version of a family fight. Win it, and you hold the upper hand in classrooms, workplaces, and even family gatherings for the next 12 months. The trophy may just be an old wagon wheel, but in Akron and Kent, it rolls with serious weight. Bowling Green versus Toledo, the Battle of I-75. Few rivalries in the MAC match the drama and tension of the Battle of I-75, where Bowling Green and Toledo trade blows for bragging rights along the short stretch of highway that connects their campuses. Separated by only 25 miles, these schools are close enough that fans bump into each other in grocery stores, classrooms, and workplaces, which makes game day less about strangers and more like clashing with your next-door neighbor. The series goes way back to 1919, though the annual nature of the rivalry really took root decades later. For years, the winner carried home the Peace Pipe Trophy, a symbol of truce and competition. But times changed, and by 2011, the schools introduced the Battle of I-75 Trophy, a sleeker and more neutral prize, proving that even traditions can evolve without losing their edge. On the field, the history is as tight as the drive between the campuses. As of 2024, Toledo leads the all-time series 43-42-4, a razor-thin margin that highlights how balanced this matchup has been. Streaks tell the story too. Toledo strung together a 9-game winning run from 2010 to 2018, while Bowling Green had earlier glory days between 1955 and 1966. And just when one side seems to pull away, the other delivers a jolt. In 2019, Bowling Green stunned Toledo in the 100th anniversary game, flipping the script and proving that no lead in this rivalry is ever safe. The atmosphere is electric every fall. Packed stadiums, divided families, and plenty of orange and blue in the stands create a cauldron of noise. For both schools, it doesn't matter if the season has been rough. Beat your rival and it feels like a championship. That's the magic of the Battle of A-75, a local feud with national level passion. Miami, Ohio versus Ohio, the Battle of the Bricks. Some rivalries are about trophies, others are about geography, but the Battle of the Bricks, that's about history, pride, and two of Ohio's oldest universities going head-to-head for more than a century. Miami University, home of the Redhawks, and Ohio University, home of the Bobcats, first squared off in 1908. Since then, they've been colliding on the gridiron for over 111 years, making it one of the oldest and most consistent rivalries in college football. The name Battle of the Bricks is more than catchy marketing. It's a nod to the beautiful brick architecture that defines both campuses, Miami's in Oxford and Ohio's in Athens. It's a subtle reminder that this isn't just about football, it's about identity, tradition, and showing your rival whose bricks look better after 4 quarters of bruising play. On the field, Miami has long had the edge. The Redhawks lead the series, sitting at roughly 56-43, 2 through 2024. They've had dominant stretches, including an 8-game win streak from 1945 to 1947-1952 that cemented their reputation as the powerhouse in this matchup. But Ohio has had its moments too, rattling off its own runs and making sure the rivalry never goes stale. Every Bobcats win feels sweeter when it comes after Miami dominance, and that pendulum swing keeps fans hooked. The game itself carries a special flavor. Alumni from both schools brag for months, and fans don't let go of past scores easily. In many ways, this game feels like a festival of Ohio football culture. Athens and Oxford might be separated by a few hours of driving, but on game day, the state feels split right down the middle. And while no bricks are actually thrown, the intensity is real. Beat your rival here and the season feels like a success. Bricks, pride, and all. Central Michigan versus Western Michigan, the victory cannon. When two Michigan schools share the same conference, the same recruiting territory, and even the same weather headaches, it's only natural sparks will fly. That's the story of the rivalry between the Central Michigan Chippewas and the Western Western Michigan Broncos, one of the fiercest and most colorful matchups in the Mid-American Conference. The two first collided in 1907, back when leather helmets and muddy fields were the norm. More than a century later, the rivalry has aged well, producing memorable games and bitter bragging rights across Michigan. To make things official, the schools introduced the Victory Cannon Trophy in 2008. It's a sleek piece of hardware shaped like a cannon, paying tribute to the tradition of firing real cannons at both schools' stadiums. The symbolism is simple: win the game, fire the cannon, and let your rival hear it. As for the numbers, Western Michigan holds a slim lead with a series record around 53-42. But when you look closer, it isn't a one-sided story, since both programs rose together to NCAA Division I status. In the mid-1970s, Central Michigan has often matched up strong, especially when playing in Mount Pleasant. This tug of war keeps fans glued to every fall meeting. And oh, the atmosphere. When the Broncos and Chippewas square off, stadiums buzz with a different kind of electricity. Tailgates get louder, chants cut deeper, and the noise inside can rattle even the most composed quarterback. For many alumni, this is the game circled on the calendar. Win it, and the season feels like a success. Fun fact, the Victory Cannon isn't just for show. It actually gets fired in both cities as a symbol of pride, echoing across Michigan long after the final whistle. When the cannon booms, one side celebrates, and the other starts plotting revenge for next year. Central Michigan versus Eastern Michigan, Michigan's oldest rivalry. If you want history in the Mid-American Conference, you don't have to look any further than the rivalry between the Central Michigan Chippewas and the Eastern Michigan Eagles. These two Michigan schools first squared off in 1902, back when football was still developing its modern rules. That makes this matchup not only one of the oldest in the state, but also the longest-running rivalry in the MAC. The series has been played over 100 times, giving generations of fans plenty of memories. Central Michigan has the upper hand, holding a commanding series lead at around 64-32-6 through 2024. The dominance really showed in the mid-20th century. From 1937 to 1992, the Chippewas piled up win after win, often using this game to stamp their authority in Michigan football. Yet, history isn't all one-sided. In the earliest decades, Eastern Michigan, then known as Michigan State Normal College, actually had its moments, proving that the Eagles could clip the Chippewas when least expected. Because the rivalry is so old, it's steeped in tradition. Alumni from both schools circle the date every fall. The chatter around campuses in Ypsilanti and Mount Pleasant is about pride as much as points. And while this isn't the flashiest rivalry in the country, it means everything to the locals. When Eastern pulls an upset, fans savor it for years because chances are Central will soon be back on top. The flavor comes from more than just the scoreboards. It's Michigan versus Michigan, with bragging rights that go beyond athletics. Families and workplaces are split, and games often become personal battles of identity. Even if you don't know the national rankings, you'll know one thing. In this part of Michigan, beating your rival is the ultimate prize. Ball State versus Northern Illinois, the Bronze Stalk. Some rivalries come with shiny trophies or long centuries of history. This one comes with a bronze cornstalk, and somehow that makes it even better. The Bronze Stalk Trophy was introduced in 2008, a nod to the maize fields of Indiana and Illinois, where both schools call home. It's not just a trophy, it's a symbol of Midwestern culture, where football and farming go hand in hand. The rivalry itself, though, goes back further. Ball State and Northern Illinois first played in 1941, battling to a 6-6 tie. Since then, they've made this matchup a tradition, with the all-time series sitting on a razor's edge. Through 2024, Northern Illinois holds a slim edge, roughly 21-20-1. The closeness of the record tells the whole story. Every year, it feels like either side could claim the bragging rights. Trends have swung back and forth. Northern Illinois built its reputation with a 10-game win streak from 2009 to 2018, showing the Huskies could dominate not just this rivalry, but the entire MAC. Yet Ball State has refused to fade away, clawing back with recent wins to keep the series even. Many of these games have been nail-biters, often decided by just a field goal or a late fourth-quarter stop. Fans know to stay until the final whistle because no lead feels safe. The intensity is fueled by what's often at stake. Both programs have been strong in recent years, with conference titles and bowl game hopes regularly hanging in the balance. When Ball State grabs the bronze stalk, Cardinals fans celebrate loudly, knowing they've toppled a MAC giant. When NIU wins, it feels like business as usual, another step in their proud tradition. And so, each fall, the cornstalk moves. Indiana or Illinois, bragging rights or heartbreak. Simple, symbolic, and fiercely competitive. That's the bronze stalk. Bowling Green versus Kent State, the anniversary award. When two schools share not just a conference, but a birth year, you know there's room for a spirited rivalry. Bowling Green State University and Kent State University were both founded in 1910 under the Lowry Bill in Ohio. To celebrate that common origin, the school's alumni departments introduced the Anniversary Award in 1985, a traveling trophy that goes home with the winner each fall. And while the name sounds friendly, the games have been anything but. The series actually began much earlier. Their first meeting was in 1920 when Bowling Green shut out Kent State State 7-0 in what was the Golden Flash's debut season. Over time, the Falcons have built a clear edge. Through 2024, Bowling Green holds a commanding lead in the overall series, 62 wins, 24 losses, and 6 ties. Since the Anniversary Award era began, the dominance has continued, with the Falcons winning 26 of 36 matchups. There have been blowouts too, like BG's 48-0 thrashing in 2015, though recent seasons have shown more balance, with Kent State winning 3 of the last 6. What makes this rivalry fun is the shared geography. Both schools are based in northern Ohio, so travel is easy and fans from both sides often fill the stands. For many, this isn't just another MAC game. It's a chance to remind a neighbor, a coworker, or even a family member which school really rules the region. Recent years have kept the tradition alive. In 2023, BG stormed past Kent State 49-19, led by Taron Keith's all-purpose brilliance. In 2024, quarterback Connor Bazelak connected for 2 scores in a 27-6 victory, extending Kent's tough run against FBS foes. It may not grab national headlines, but within Ohio, the Anniversary Award rivalry is pure MACtion, tight-knit, proud, and full of local bragging rights. And that's the tour through the Mid-American Conference's fiercest rivalries. The MAC may not always grab the national spotlight, but anyone who's watched a Tuesday night MACtion game knows these rivalries carry just as much heart, history, and chaos as the so-called big leagues. If you think I missed a classic moment or have a rivalry story of your own, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your side of MACtion history. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because we're diving into more college football traditions, legends, and what-ifs every single week.